Muchachos y muchachas, welcome back, friends. So just a little bit of a victory lap here. It's a small victory. We haven't seen it all the way through yet, but as you guys may or may not know, on this channel, we have been covering some breaking news. So we whistle blew it here first, where I have obtained, very exclusive content and details of some inappropriate misconduct going on within, or allegations going on within Miss USA organization, in which the VP or former VP, 𝘜𝘴𝘦 is alleged to have, inappropriately harassed, in that way, models, contestants within the organization, and it has yet to be addressed or, any actions being taken within the org. Now, it was to my surprise last night when I got a notification from my Daily Mail app. As you guys know, this is how I keep up to date with the news. I get, alerts from news apps. And, I saw a headline that just absolutely snatched my wig, in which it alleges, I'm just going to paraphrase, that VP 𝘜𝘴𝘦 was forced to step down due to some allegations that were going on within the organization. This is a very proud moment because now this is getting eyes, and your girl was mentioned in the article. Hold on to your butts, secure your wigs, stay right there. We're going to go through it. Really quick, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this channel and this video, Ageless Glow. Guys, I've been using this for almost 2 years now. We're at the tail end of this year, so it's almost 2 years. And what I love about this is before my makeup. It smooths everything out and it makes everything apply so evenly. But the best thing about this is that it's an anti-aging serum, and so it combats fine lines and it rejuvenates your skin, as well as it makes your skin feel wonderful. You guys can get it at 𝘠𝘴𝘦.com. All right, so I wanted to give you guys the why. Why did I do this? I know that the theme of this channel is truth, and so it didn't derail too much away from the type of content that I was doing. But, when I was approached by industry insiders from Miss USA, Miss Universe organization with these very exclusive content pieces, such as the bombshell call and the images alleging misconduct on the behalf of 𝘜𝘴𝘦, the former VP of Miss USA organization, there was a heightened desperation from the whistleblowers that I received it from, because there was a lack of action by the organization. There still, in my personal opinion, is a lack of action. There are lack of actions by the behalf of that organization. They have not addressed it. And to that, I felt the duty to take this on. As you guys know, I stand very heavily on a platform of anti-human exploitation and anti-human T-wording, in which I have for the past decade. So with that being said, anything like this needs to be nipped at the bud. Okay, I don't care what industry this occurs in, whether it is in the pageantry industry, modeling industry, Hollywood, the political sphere, the law, field sphere, this should not happen. And when it does, when there are very serious allegations like this that are brought up, it needs to be addressed, and there needs to be swift action taken place, in which I believe that there hasn't been, because there hasn't been any public statements put out by Miss USA organization in this regard. The only thing that they're addressing is the rigging scandal. Now, from my observation through our culture, what has happened, and this is my personal opinion, Me Too came out, a few years ago, and in which it did two things. It did empower more victims to come out and speak out against their predators and what had happened to them. But what it also did, it also created an inlet for, just any chick to come out and, allege some really dark things of guys that were not necessarily true, or, that they were very minor things in which, the male then suffers very detrimental consequences. And I don't think that that's right as well. And to that, because it has become so exaggerated in a fashion where just anybody can just accuse any guy, which once again is not right, if it wasn't, a serious matter, of course, if it is an actual allegation and all that, of course it needs to be addressed. This is the whole point of this video. But what it has also created is another culture of a lax attitude towards victims being validated when they do come out, and it does result in some form of victim shaming and some form of shame on the victim, when really we should be allocating that energy to the predators that are legitimate, threats to society. And so, and I'm not saying that this is every dude, not at all. I know that there are dudes out there that care about this. But I have seen lax attitudes, in our culture, where it's like, oh, well, the girl shouldn't even be in that industry if she doesn't want to get harassed, or, oh, it's not true. Like, already indicting the character of the victim without even gaining much context or detail. And I think that that's wrong as well. I think that these two things need to bridge a medium in our society where, we understand that there are victims out there and they do have legitimate concerns and allegations that need to be validated. And in this case, it has not, which is why I took it on. The power dynamics of any industry, when you are in a power position, should never be exploited to gain on personal intent and motivation, right? In which, in this case, that's what it appears to be, that Max 𝘂𝑃𝑟𝑒𝑥, the former VP of Miss USA organization, was in a power position. He was an owner, co-owner of the, brand license over Miss USA Miss Teen USA organization, where, he felt enabled and empowered to, harass these contestants and models in the industry. And what also created that environment are the bozos in the industry that keep defending all of this, okay? And here's the thing. It's when we don't call out the heifers out there that are defending predators like this, or the other enablers in the industry, including leadership in an organization, they are just as much as need to be held accountable as the other people, okay? And so this is why I also put the pressure to call out those people. And listen, I'm gonna just say this. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry about this. I'm gonna keep doing things like this. When there are, corroborative and consistent allegations on something so dark, I as a truther, I don't fear truth. Nobody else should fear truth. Whether you have a platform or not, you should always call these things out. And that's the whole point of all this. The relentless fearlessness of telling the truth, okay? So the pressure and the attention should actually be redirected and reallocated to the alleged predators. That's where it needs to be. We need to bring shame back to our culture. We need to make them feel the pressure, and which is why I do the things that I do. So I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize. I will never apologize for what I do, okay? With that being said, let's go ahead. And there's some things in this article that, I learned. Let's just pivot and change gears here to the article. I think that the article, to just preface, I think it was very fairly written. I think that the publisher did a phenomenal job at doing the additional investigation, as far as getting exclusive interviews with former contestants and industry insiders. It was very well-rounded. There were some points that he got from, the people in the industry that, in my personal opinion, seemed to be enabling the leadership positions, but I digress. But with that being said, it was fair, it was balanced, and more so anything, it fleshed out exactly what we've been, purveying on this channel, that these allegations seem to be consistent. And to that, there was an additional detail. There are some additional details that I feel are important to highlight. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to paraphrase here. So if you guys want to go view the article, I'm going to link it in my description below. I encourage you guys to put eyes on the article and to share it, so that way, more eyes can get on this. But there was one contestant that was actually mentioned on the bombshell call that I also published onto this channel and was the first to obtain it, which, by the way, I was mentioned in the article saying that. But the allegation that was addressed on the call by Crystal Stewart, the president of Miss USA, was that Max 𝘂𝑃𝑟𝑒𝑥, her husband, went up to a hotel room to bring up a dress to a contestant. Now, what was stated in this article that added additional context and fleshed out a lot more details was the fact that the contestant who did a test on anonymity, said that he walked into her room uninvited. Okay, that's a major detail. It's major. Uninvited. He felt empowered and enabled to go into the hotel room to just, invade this contestant's space. Now, the contestant did say that he hugged her very closely and kissed her on, he whispered something in her ear and kissed her on the corner of her mouth, in which she said that she froze, and, that completely changed her entire perception of the organization, that she was enamored by the industry and the organization, and that she had dreams of, from what I take it from the contestants that I have personally talked to, it seems to be congruent that they all have had a dream at one point to, endeavor into the pageant world. And look, I'm going to just say this. It doesn't have to be my dream. It doesn't have to be your dream. People have different likes and aspirations. That should never, ever enable an environment for exploitation just because they enter a certain industry. Okay. So I was a little sad reading that piece of the article where she said that, she really got jaded from that experience, and it really changed her perception about the organization because of that happening to her. Another piece of the article that I grabbed from, with context that I feel that is important to address was that there was the email exchange that we overviewed on one of the first video, Miss USA Scandal, in which the contestant it was a pageant, insider who did contest that, there was some, intent behind 𝘜𝘴𝘦 reaching out to her, that she did exchange, content with 𝘜𝘴𝘦, in which it stated in the article that looking back, she actually felt enticed and exploited because he was a person in a power position. He was a married man, and, she did feel enticed to do things like that, which I also want to address. Being that I do speak to a lot of victims, and I have spoken to victims in the past, this does start somewhere. Okay. When victims are put in those positions, there's an inlet somewhere, there's an environment that is created, and that should have never been allowed, especially by a professional in an industry, especially by, not just a professional, but you own this entire organization, and you created an environment and an inlet for any contestant, model, anybody to feel, an openness to share that because you opened up the conversation with that. So I do give my, sentiments to that contestant as well. I know a lot of people won't understand that, and I just do, because I understand the psychology of, the love bombing and, the romancing, the Romeo of this entire scenario, and it has to start somewhere. And as we did read through the email, it did start with 𝘜𝘴𝘦's outreaching and creating those innuendos to the contestant. Now, another thing that I feel is important to address is that, the insiders that spoke to Daily Mail, they did say that, hey, we find it funny that Miss USA organization are going to hire a third-party investigation into the rigging allegations, but they never have had intent or have addressed intent to investigate the misconduct allegations, right? So to this day, what is it, October 19th? To this day, I can't read my calendar right now. To this day, they have not addressed these allegations in a public fashion or internally. And I think that is high-key important. So anyway, I wanted to address that. I am very happy that dailymail.com, they saw the things that I saw. I mean, we fleshed it out here on this channel. They assessed the same email, and they grabbed the same content that I had, in that whistleblower email that they obtained themselves. And, they assessed it in a very similar way that I did. So saying all that to me means that this is looking to be corroborated, investigation here, investigation there. It seems to be corroborated. And I haven't addressed the rigging allegation on this channel whatsoever because I wanted to stay in my lane and all that. But, you know, something that has me questioning is whether or not this is connected. And once again, just want to be fair and say that maybe Miss USA organization should probably address it, you know, because some people can draw those inferences that maybe, is this connected, right? I know Crystal Stewart did mention on her call that there was some alluded favoritism that Max Sebrix expressed to a contestant. So could that favoritism, could it have transferred into placing and advancement and what we're seeing in the rigging allegations? That I don't know. I wish that they would address it, but that's just a question that I have. And with that, I do have some allegation tea on the rigging, which again, this is the first time I ever cover this, but I received some, you know, information last night from one of the industry insiders. So as you guys know, Miss Texas was crowned recently, and the allegations started to spur out from different contestants speaking out on social media. Now, what I did receive last night was a prize package, you know, some prize package literature in which it was alluded internally. There's an internal banter going on right now within Miss USA organization that the Texas leadership over the pageantry in Texas actually accepted a prize package that was way more, you know, inclusive as far as, you know, the things included in that package than any other state. And that, you know, the banter going on is that the Texas leadership never spoke out about it or addressed it. And it seems to be that there's some internal banter that are drawing some sort of conclusions and connecting dots that, hey, there seems to be some form of knowledge that there was a lot more assistance and prize content for, you know, Texas. So anyway, I don't know that. Maybe the investigation will show that out. One thing that I do want to address is that, you know, Crystal Stewart, who's her whole, I don't know what. I know Miss Brands, who heads Miss USA, was supposed to be suspended, but yet she's on press conferences. I'm saying not press conferences. She's addressing the press like Good Morning America. She's the one who's saying like there's a third-party investigation looking into this. And by her words saying that they're going to come out with all the facts. Well, how do you know all the facts when the investigation is ongoing? Interesting, right? So anyway, we're going to have to see how this fleshes out. If it does, thank you all once again for your viewership. If it weren't for you, if it weren't for your comments, for your views, for your shares, this wouldn't have gone out. This wouldn't have fleshed out, at least to the point that we see it right now. So guys, thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. Please be sure to stay tuned to all the other videos. I will continue the Chris Cornell series. I will post an episode 4 very soon. I love you all. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.